Hi guys, this is Darby Craft coming to you guys today just with a quick little video talking a little bit about macros, why we focus on those, and then also post-workout, what that looks like for me and what that could look like for you guys as well. I'm super excited for this month of consistency together and just different focuses that ultimately build the foundation for our health, for our nutrition, not just for a week or a month, but honestly for a lifetime. And that's why we're starting in with macros, because the macronutrient ratios that you're eating, having a balanced plate, that every single day on a daily basis multiplied across a lifetime is what builds health for life. And consistency is key. That's why this month is all about consistency. It's not perfection, because you should be having your treats. Today is my 25th birthday. And so my favorite dessert is pie. So I'm about to smash some strawberry rhubarb pie, which, Pillsbury pie crust and full of sugar, and it's going to be so delicious. But you know what? I'm going to eat that this evening and I'm going to love it and I'm going to enjoy it. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and make my breakfast that I always make and just live my life as I always do. And that's how it should be. We shouldn't be eating foods that are labeled bad by culture and by diet culture and feel guilty after we eat them. Instead, it should be, I eat consistently super nutrient dense foods, whole foods, and when I want to treat myself, I'm going to choose to do that and I'm going to love it and enjoy it, and then I'm going to continue eating as I always do. But that is definitely not the culture we live in, and the nutritional culture that we live in today. And so for some of you, that may be your habit of like, I'm up and down and all around. And you know what? Then this month, hey, let's just make small goals and focus on being consistent in those small goals, because those compound. This is just a month of us focusing on this together, but let's say you make some small changes. This week of macros, let's say that instead of eating a sugary granola bar for breakfast, you're maybe having some eggs with, a piece of toast and with some butter on it, and maybe a side of cucumbers and an apple. That, if you do that consistently for 6 months, instead of just eating a granola bar and running out the door every morning, I guarantee you're going to notice a difference in your energy levels. You're going to notice a difference in your cravings throughout the day. You're going to notice a difference in your mood. And that is what creates change. That's what creates lasting change, better health, and honestly creates a whole different foundation for your nutrition. So this month is not about perfection at all. It's all about consistency, small changes. We're gonna, my hope for all of us is that, hey, what we're focusing here on week 1 in macros, that habit that you're working on every day and that weekly goal that you're working on every day, you're gonna bring that into week 2 when we're focusing on water and increasing our water intake and putting electrolytes in our water when we need them. Okay, we're going to take what we did in macros and water and we're going to continue that into week 3. And when we focus on sugar, which I'm sure everyone is excited for. And so this month is not about perfection. It's not about completely revamping or, refusing yourself a treat if you are, can indulge in that and want to, making a choice to. There's no guilt there. This should be a month of habit change and focusing on small wins and compounding those wins, so that, hey, after this month, you're able to take those small changes, those habits you've made, and continue them into month 2 when we're past this, into month 3, and then you can start adding more smaller changes. And you know what? A year from now, 2 years from now, your diet and your lifestyle, your habits of eating could look totally different than they do right here today. And so I'm super excited just for this entire month, getting to share our journeys together. I encourage all of you to be sharing in the Facebook group. Some of us are posting our food. I would love to see some of you, just sharing more maybe about what your goals are for that week, how your habit it has been going, and different things like that. So just be sharing anything, anything on the page, just creating an atmosphere of community here amongst us. Super fun. Because that's what we're here for, right? None of us should be doing this by ourselves or, feeling like we're failing, because we're all in this together. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about macros and why we focus on them. Macronutrients, that's our carbs, our proteins, and our fats. I also say the fourth kind of honorary macronutrient is our veggies, because that's what gives us our micronutrients, which is our vitamins and minerals, which are also super crucial to balance in our body, and honestly what builds the foundation for hormonal function in our body, cell function, our brain functioning properly, our bone health, all the things within our body rely on those macronutrients, but also those micronutrients. And so macronutrients are our proteins, carbs, and fats. In the PDF I sent out, I gave 3 different ways, kind of a easy, medium, harder being, the most strict and the most time consuming to begin with. Ways to track your macros or just bring more balance into the food that you're eating. Macros is different than counting calories in that, you could eat 1,500 calories in bananas every day, but you are getting a massive amount of carbohydrates, way more than your body needs, and you're going to be deficient in your fats and your proteins. And honestly, those carbohydrates need those fats and those proteins to function properly within the body. And so counting calories, I never recommend that. It's kind of an old diet culture, because it is not taking into account that, person A may need to eat 1,500 calories in a day, and person B may need to also eat 1,500 calories in a day, but those two people's nutritional needs look very different. If person A is not active at all, their protein need is probably going to be less than person B. And definitely their carbohydrate need will be less than person B. And so macro tracking is a lot more customized to the individual than just counting calories. And it also accounts for a lot more nutritional balance, and bringing a lot more, nutrient dense foods into the mix, because, you can fill 1,500 calories, 2,000 calories with any type of food. But if you're focusing on, hey, I'm going to get 130 grams of protein a day, I guarantee you the foods that you're going to eat to fill those calories will look different than if you just were trying to meet a calorie goal in a day. And so when we're looking at our proteins, carbs, and fats, those 3, an emphasis that I had, or example goals I had for this week, was when you were eating, having each of those present in your meals, because all of those work synergistically in the digestive process and the assimilation process in your body. Carbohydrates are a very quick source of fuel for our body, the source of fuel for our brain. It's the preferred source of fuel for our brain. So, in those times when you haven't eaten in quite some time, or, let's say you had a super high sugary breakfast, you grabbed like a sugary granola bar as you ran out the door, or you had a donut for breakfast, those carbohydrates, if you're having super sugary breakfasts, first of all, your blood sugar, which is, our blood sugar is what regulates our energy levels throughout the day. If you're starting your day with a super sugary breakfast, you are going to skyrocket those blood sugar levels, and then your body, in an effort to level you out, is going to release hormones, insulin, to try to get you back to normal levels. And what oftentimes happens is that level has gotten so high, your body pushes out so much insulin that that level crashes down, and that's where the term sugar crash has come from. And so your body has, you were up here, and then your body is now down here, and there's all that insulin going through your bloodstream, crashing your blood sugar, and then now your body is trying to get you back to here. And so when you're down here, you're feeling groggy and tired, and what a lot of us do is we go, and oftentimes you crave sugar when you're down here with that low blood sugar. So what do? We go and grab a handful of M&Ms. We go and grab, what is ever in the snack room at the office, or, whatever our choice is, super high sugary snack. And what is that going to do to our blood sugar? It's going to bring us right back up here. And then our body puts out more insulin, and it crashes us back down. And so it just creates this kind of vicious cycle within our body. And ultimately, over days, weeks, months, years, that is what leads to type 2 diabetes that we have in our culture, because we live in a world of highly processed, highly sugared foods, where, again, I am not someone that is like, hey, these foods are good and these foods are bad. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but today's my birthday, and my favorite dessert is pie, and I'm about to eat the most delicious, as some would label unhealthy, strawberry rhubarb pie this evening, and I'm gonna enjoy every bite. And honestly, I'm gonna eat as much as I want of it because it is my favorite dessert on the face of the planet. And I'm choosing to have that tonight, and I'm so excited. Do I eat that every day? No, it's a massive treat for me, and I'm psyched to have it. But I'm gonna have that tonight. I've ate normally today. I'm gonna have that tonight, and then I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning and I'm gonna make the breakfast that I'm gonna make the same breakfast I do. Eggs. I got some tortillas at the store today with some bacon and some veggies in there. I'm gonna make that breakfast, and that's what I'm gonna have tomorrow. And then I'm gonna live my day as I usually do. And I'm not gonna feel guilty for eating that pie. I'm not gonna feel like I shouldn't have. Will my stomach be maybe a little bit bloated because I don't typically eat things like that? Totally. But is it 100% worth it because it's one of my favorite things in the world? 100%. And so, you know, a lot of the foundations of the work I do with clients, and also the message that I would love to send to everybody in this challenge this month is, you know, the whole goal when it comes to our nutrition should be fueling your body so it functions properly, so that when you wake up in the morning, you feel good. You know, if your goal is to lose weight, okay, you know, where can we be making small changes to lose weight so that I feel more comfortable in my clothes? You know, not so that you can look like X, Y, or Z, or you can, you know, compare yourself to other people. That isn't, my hope is that that isn't where, you know, or feeling like you have to be X, Y, or Z. That our weight loss journeys are coming from a place of, you know, I'm wanting to do this and I want to lose weight so that I could get there. I'm wanting to feel better, so I want to lose weight so I can get there. I want to be able to do this at the gym, like if maybe box jumps or burpees for time or muscle ups or what, you know, handstands, like whatever it may be. You feel like losing some weight may help you get there. Okay, let's have that be our motivators for getting there, and not just I'm unhappy with myself and so I want to lose weight. You know, being kind to ourselves honestly will make that journey, and setting our goals, you know, with a purpose will make that journey of weight loss, or, you know, whatever your goal is, a lot more enjoyable, and honestly a lot easier for you to share with the people around you. And that's honestly what it should all be about. It'd probably be easier for you to share within this group if that's your goal long term, you know. And so, and honestly, once you get there, it's a lot better of a motivator to help you stay there, you know, than just I'm wanting to lose weight because, you know, I'm unhappy with myself. And so I kind of went off on a tangent there. But, you know, back to proteins, carbs, and fats. They all work together when we eat them. They all work together when they are assimilating in our body. And so, you know, when we're eating, like I said earlier, carbohydrates are the preferred form of fuel for our body. So when we're eating a plate, let's say we have some potatoes, let's say we have some broccoli, and let's say we have half an avocado and some chicken breasts. When we eat that food, those potatoes are going to digest quickly. You know, they're going to digest a little bit slower because there's the presence of fat in there. So when we eat, fats digest the slowest of all of the 3 macronutrients. And so when we eat foods, when we're eating, you know, our potatoes and our chicken with that avocado in there as well, it's actually going to slow that digestive process, which is going to give us an easier time for our digestive system. It's going to give our body more time to absorb all the nutrients. It's going to give our body more of a balanced energy supply, because that food isn't just digesting and being dumped into our body right away. That food, you know, digestion and assimilation is our body absorbing what we just ate when it gets into our intestines. That whole process is going to be slowed, and so it's going just to create a much healthier energy balance, a much healthier kind of chain reaction of what our body is wanting to do across our digestive system, across the cellular level, as we're eating and as we're digesting. And so those carbs are going to digest fastest and enter into our body and provide energy to our cells, energy to our brain. It's going to help our protein that we're eating be absorbed and help build our muscles back if we just worked out, or, you know, if you're active at all, that's going to help that protein get back to where it needs to be. And that protein is going to help balance out your hormones, because protein is a massive contributor, a foundation to hormone, sorry, there's a plane going over me, hormone function and hormone creation within the body. And so those proteins and those carbs are going to work together to get into the muscles, get into the cells, give your body energy, and those fats are going to be the slowest digesting, and that's going to give our body a long-term energy source. And so as you can kind of look at it, if you think you have a big fire, think of our bodies, our metabolisms, our bodies as a burning fire. When you are putting nothing onto that burning fire, what happens? The fire goes out. And so, if you're not eating for 5, 6, 7 hours, the fire within your body is going to go out. You're going to be feeling sluggish. You're going to be feeling tired. You're going to be feeling probably pretty groggy. I personally get very cranky when I haven't eaten in some time. And so, that burning fire, that's why my goal this week was to eat every 3 to 4 hours, because I'm someone that, that's a healthy time frame for me to be eating. And I eat a pretty good sized meal every 3 to 4 hours, because that leaves me feeling happy, energized, and just good to go do what I want to do. And so yes, you have that fire. When it comes to carbs and fats, how you can imagine is your carbs are your kindling, are your sticks. And so you throw those sticks onto that fire, and that fire gets really big and it burns really fast. And so that fire gets going, you put the kindling on, those carbohydrates, and it burns really fast. Well, that's going to burn down really fast as well. Your fats are the logs that you put on the fire. And so when you're just putting kindling on your fire, it's going to burn really quick, and then it's going to burn down very quickly, and you're going to be burnt out. But if you're putting that kindling on there, it's going to start that fire, flame that fire up, and then you're putting logs on that fire as well. It's going to create this slow burning fire, and that's what we're trying to do within our body, is create this slow burning fire of energy supply to our cells, to our brain, to our muscles, because it's going to leave you with a better mood, with more clarity of thinking, with better focus, multiple different things. And so that sounds very simple, or that may be hard for you. You're like, eating every 3 hours, like I wake up at 7 a.m. and usually don't eat till 1 p.m. Well, then let me tell you, a fantastic goal for this week for you would be just starting your day with, 1 egg and maybe some sliced cucumbers or an apple, having a few things together. It can be small, it doesn't need to be big, but just trying to think of, hey, my body is this burning fire, and I'm trying to give my body the fuel, the kindling, the logs that it needs to burn properly, so that I feel good, so that I can go do what I want to in my day and not be feeling angry and sluggish, and all of these different things. And so macronutrients, it can be as simple as you want. Like I have balanced plate in there, which is literally, putting half of your plate of veggies, a fourth of your plate of a starchy carb, which that's like potatoes or rice, or sweet potatoes, different things like that. And then a fourth of your plate of protein, a protein source. That could be scrambled eggs, that could be chicken, that could be steak, that could be whatever it is. And then actually I said that wrong. Half a plate of starchy veggies, or starchy carbs and veggies. So half of your plate would be starchy carbs and veggies, and then a fourth of it would be fat, and a fourth of it would be protein. That's super simple. There's no calculators involved. There's no, tracking. There's no apps involved or anything like that. It's simply looking at your plate and saying, all right, how can I balance this out so that I'm getting good sources of micronutrients from my veggies and my carbs, or from my veggies and my starchy carbs, and how can I make sure I'm getting my macronutrients from my fat and my protein? So that's a great way if you've never paid attention to that, if you've never paid attention to trying to, get a balance of macronutrients when you're eating. The balanced plate method is a fantastic place to start. Does that mean you'll stay there forever? No, but that's a fantastic place to start. As, if that's hard, start with one meal. And that, you got to start somewhere. So balanced plate, and then you have the palm method, which is a much more customized to you way of tracking macronutrients. That does not require an app and does not require any sort of template or anything like that. And so that's where you would take your plate, and all you do is use your hand. And so you're going to do a palm serving of protein. So that's the size of your palm and also the width of your palm. So how you can do that, if you have your plate sitting right here, you would serve your protein. You can just kind of put your palm spread out like this on top of it, and your protein should kind of fit within this radius of your hand. And so that would be your 1 serving of protein that you would have. You're gonna have a cupped hand. So think of like this. You can use, like, you can kind of picture it, or you could, you know, my cupped hand is probably about half a cup. Half a cup of starchy vegetables. So let's say I'm gonna use rice. I do half a cup of rice on my plate. 2 fists of veggies. I love veggies, so I'm always do 2 full fists. That could be lettuce, that could be asparagus, that could be, I have it all on the foods list, but that could be any sort of green vegetable that you can think of, bell peppers, whatever, choose what you like. You know, this should be enjoyable. For it to be long lasting and consistent for you, it has to be enjoyable. So start with the veggies you like. I guarantee you, as you introduce more veggies into your diet, your tastes might change a little bit. For example, some of you know my husband, Toby. When we first started dating, Toby would eat romaine lettuce and that was it. And so over time, over the last about 4 years that we've been together, slowly but surely, he started eating more veggies, introducing new veggies, different veggies, and now his diet has majorly diversified. His veggie intake has majorly increased, but also the foods he likes is totally different than the foods that he would have told you he liked 4 years ago. So start with the veggies you like. Do 2 fists. Do 1 fist if you're like, veggies make me gag. You know, at least get them on your plate. Two fists of veggies. Let's say for me, you know, I made a, you know, mixed green salad and then a thumb serving of fat. So I put on, in the PDF, for women, that can look like, you know, if you're doing like a thing of avocado, you can kind of imagine you're gonna do from the top of your thumb to right here. So that's the same length and also like the width of that for you. You know, you could do avocado, but for me, if you're doing a liquid, like on my plate that I'm imaginary building right here, I want to use salad dressing. My favorite brand is Tessie Mae's, which you can find, Costco has the ranch version, or they have them at Target, or Trader Joe's if you're fancy and shop there, or Whole Foods or different things like that. And so for women, if you're going to use a liquid fat, I usually say 1 to 2 tablespoons. I always do 2 tablespoons just because I'm a larger bodied person, female. Men, 3 to 4 tablespoons, depending on how large of a person that you are. So for example, my husband Toby, some of you know him, he would do 4 tablespoons. And so on my plate here, I have my palm. Let's say I have a palm of chicken. Again, within here, palm of chicken. I have a cupped hand. For me, that's about half a cup of white rice. 2 fists of a mixed green salad. And then I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of Caesar Tessie Mae's dressing, and that's my fat source. And so I have my protein right here in my palm. I got my starchy carb source, which that starchy carbs, those just process quicker within your body. And so there's typically not a lot of fiber. There are quite a bit of micronutrients in there as well, but starchy carbs are typically higher in carbohydrates than a non-starchy carbohydrate. So like rice is much higher in carbohydrate content than, let's say, spaghetti squash. And so yes, it's just gonna have a higher amount of carbohydrates in a serving. So like in half a cup of rice, there's gonna be a lot more carbohydrates than in half a cup of spaghetti squash. So just something to, you know, think about, or, you know, educate yourself on if you want to look more into what exactly are starchy carbohydrates. They just digest quicker in your body, and they have a high carbohydrate content. So I got, you know, my cupped hand, for me, about half a cup of rice, 2 handfuls of mixed greens, and 2 tablespoons of dressing, which Tessie Mae's is typically, it's an oil-based salad dressing, so it has quite a bit of fat in there. So that would be my palm method for my size, because it's all based on my hand. So again, like my plate would look very different than my husband Toby's because he's a much bigger person. His hands are much larger. So it's different from balanced plate, and that balanced plate is kind of dictated by the size of your plate. Palm method, it's dictated by the size of your hand. So it's a lot more, yeah, look at my nasty hands. It's a lot more individualized to you. But again, you can do that anywhere. You could do that building a breakfast plate at a hotel, you know, continental breakfast. You know, you don't need a scale, you don't need an app, you don't need measuring cups, you don't need anything. You can utilize that anywhere you go. Honestly, when I'm traveling like I am right now, that's how I eat. I'm not gonna carry my scale with me. That's not, you know, if I was really working to, you know, maybe lean out a little bit right now or different things like that, I might bring my scale, but that's not my goals right now. So I'm not too concerned. I'm just trying to, you know, eat as normally as I do while I'm traveling, but also really enjoy and treat myself with the things that I love. For example, my strawberry rhubarb pie tonight. So, you know, I'm using the palm method while I'm here to just kind of balance out my plates. And I'll put a few pictures. I'll put pictures while I'm here so you guys can kind of see what that looks like for me personally. But moving on from that, kind of the most advanced way is having set macronutrient goals every day and then utilizing either a form of template or a app like MyFitnessPal to track what you are eating, inputting it into the app and seeing where you are at as you eat throughout the day. So there is a link to Precision Nutrition that I put in the PDF this week for you to go kind of calculate your own macros. If you're interested in, you know, having set goals, set grams that you are trying to achieve in each of your macros every day. And, you know, it's a fantastic way to recomposition your body. If that's recomposition pretty much means, you know, reducing your body fat and increasing your body mass and muscle. And so there's some people, you know, let's say there's a female that weighs 150 pounds. She can recomp her body, have a different body composition, and still weigh 150 pounds and look very different. Because version A of her, let's say, could be, you know, 30% body fat and 10% body mass and muscle. Let's say she, you know, really strictly tracked her macros and had you know, was working out regularly and did a body recomposition. She could still weigh 150 pounds, but her body mass from muscle, her body weight of mass and muscle may be 15 or 20%, and her body mass from fat may be now down to 20%. And so her weight has stayed the same, but the compositions within her body that are getting to that number of weight look very different. And so that's typically, I'm going to be honest, with any client I work with, especially I only pretty much work with active clients because that's where my heart is. My active clients, it's all right, we're wanting to lose some weight, but really our goal here is to have a body recomposition. And so, you know, the scale, I can't tell you the last time I weighed myself. That's just personally something for me. I'm a lot more focused on my performance in the gym, how I'm feeling throughout the day, how I'm fitting in my clothes. That's more so my goal. I'm not worried about a number on a scale. But again, everybody's health goals are different. And so there's nothing wrong. That's just me personally. You know, and that's maybe something for you if you're like, hey, the scale's really hard for me. Maybe that's something for you to evaluate of like, hey, my goal is to lose weight, but maybe only focusing on the scale is not the healthiest thing, or really the thing that's going to get you to where your goals are if it creates an unhealthy relationship between you and food. Kind of feeding to what I said earlier, you know, having your goals with a purpose, you know, not just, hey, I want to lose weight, but saying, hey, there's X, Y, and Z that I'm wanting to do. And I think losing 5 pounds, 10 pounds will help me achieve that. So that's why I'm going to do it. Not because I want to look like her or X, Y, or Z, whatever it may be. And so, you know, having those goals with a purpose and with a motivation so that they're tangible and measurable. You know, if you just say I want to lose 5 or 10 pounds, like for me, if I wanted to lean out a little bit, I would say it was because I wanted my gymnastic movements to feel easier. You know, I can do probably, if I really maxed out, 20 kipping pull-ups right now. If I lost 5 pounds, which like that would be 5 pounds losing for me would be like that's kind of the lowest I think I would go in my weight. If I wanted to lose 5 pounds of body fat, my goal would be to be able to do 30 kipping pull-ups unbroken, just because I'm moving less mass in my body. So that's like, for me, that's how I would measure, all right, like I'm wanting to lose some weight. All right, I'm currently at 20 kipping pull-ups and they feel really hard when I get to that 20 unbroken. All right, the next 2 months, I'm gonna really strictly track my macros. I'm gonna have my goals each day for my proteins, carbs, and fats. I'm going to track in MyFitnessPal. And I also think it is healthy if you are wanting to really strictly track your macronutrients. When you're doing that, you get a very good idea of what your plates should look like and what your snacks will look like, what snacks fit into your macros in the day. After 3 weeks, I would tell you, hey, for my, you know, Saturday, let's say you have really busy days on Wednesdays or something like that, I'm not going to weigh out that plate. I'm going to practice making my plate without having to weigh my food. Because in my opinion, that creates a healthy balance in there. Because what can happen and what we don't want to happen is a dependency on I have to have my scale, I have to have my measuring cups in order to eat because my macros have to be perfect. And that is not our goal here. Our goal is to help you get to where, your goal should be getting you to your goals, but ultimately living your life in a healthy way that your foundation of nutrition is nutrient dense and you're giving your body what it needs so that a month from now, 2 months from now, 2 years from now, 20 years, 80 years from now, you are the healthiest version of you because you set a foundation for yourself early on in life. Let's say you're later in life. Hey, it is never too late to start turning your habits around and helping your body function as it should. It's never too late to do that. And so, macronutrients are super important. Finding a balance for your body is super important. It does take time to, you start somewhere and you see, I say give it 2 weeks. Be consistent for 2 weeks and see, how am I feeling after this? Even after I eat, am I feeling super tired? Am I feeling super slow in my workouts? Then I would say, hey, maybe you're not eating enough food. All right. Now in my meals, I tell people increase your carbohydrates a little bit. And increase your fat a little bit. So if you've been using 1 tablespoon of fat, do 1.5 or try 2 and see how your body responds to that. If you're doing, a palm full of carbohydrates, do 1.5 palms. So I would go, instead of, half a cup, I would maybe do 2/3 cup of rice, So adjusting that, and your needs in life are going to change. And so finding balance of all right, where I'm at now, this is where I'm at, but also being flexible of hey, 5 years from now when I'm probably having kids, my nutritional needs are going to look very different than they do right now as a female that does not have children, isn't breastfeeding, isn't pregnant. Or for guys, hey, for guys, I'm working out twice a day right now. Your nutritional needs are going to look different. Like Toby, for example, my husband, he works out typically twice a day for probably 3 hours a day. When we have kids, he may not be working out for that amount of time the majority of the week. So his nutritional needs will look different in that phase of life than they do right now. And so it's all about being flexible, really tuning into your body and finding, what balance works, and just adjusting that through, your different phases of life, but also feeling empowered of I know what my body feels like when it feels good and when I'm giving it what it needs. And that's my hope for any person, is just that you feel empowered to be in control of, I know what my body needs, and I know that I feel good when I do X, Y, and Z. And when I'm getting, quantities of proteins, carbs, and fats in kind of this realm. And so, yeah, it's just, it's a journey. If you guys have questions, please email me. I would be so happy if you're hey, where do I kind of start with this? Or where do I go from here? This is kind of where I'm at. I would love to just help you as I can throughout this month. But then also to post this month, if you're interested in one-on-one coaching and we can really dive in together, we can also talk about that. So I'm super excited. My goal this week was to eat every 3 to 4 hours because I'm someone that gets very cranky and not I just shut down. I just when I have not eaten and I should have eaten. And when you're traveling and going all over and I'm playing with my niece, it can, I can forget to eat or food's not there. And so my goal was to just plan ahead as I needed to, have snacks available with me, eat every 3 to 4 hours, but then also pick one treat a day that I was going to indulge in, that I really wanted, because today's my birthday, tomorrow's my sister's birthday, and then my niece's birthday party is this weekend. So my treat today is going to be my strawberry rhubarb pie, which I am so excited to eat. So I did say at the beginning of this, I was just going to quick run through at the end here what I eat post-workout. So I always have a protein shake. I'm someone after I work out, especially if it was a longer workout, if it was hot, I do not want food at all. Eating food does not sound good to me, but drinking something cold sounds awesome to me. So I We use a brand called Naked Whey for our protein powder. We ordered off Amazon. So I have 1 serving, which is 25 grams of protein. There is some coconut sugar in Naked Whey, which is 8 grams of carbs, which is fine because I'm looking to get some carbohydrate source after my workout. And then I also use Vital Proteins collagen. So I have 1 scoop of Naked Whey, which I believe is 25 grams of protein. Yeah, I have 1 scoop of Naked Whey. Well, 1 serving, sorry, it's 2 scoops is 1 serving for that. So it's about 25 grams of protein, if I'm recalling correctly, 8 grams of carbs from the coconut sugar, and then 10 grams of collagen protein, which collagen protein is what builds our tendons, our hair, our skin, our nails, in here as well. So I have total about 35 grams of protein and 8 grams of carbs in this bottle. And then I mentioned it yesterday, I eat baby food because again, I don't want to chew anything right now. I don't want to be eating something, but I'm looking to get a carb source. So I typically look to try to get about 20 grams of carbs after I've worked out. If I've worked out under an hour, under 1 hour duration, I look for about 20 grams of carbs. So I'm going to eat this, and this has 14 grams of carbohydrates. So I'm going to eat this apple mango. It's a fruit pouch, guys. I know it's labeled as baby food, but it's literally just pureed fruit. So that's what I'm gonna eat. And that's what I'm gonna eat post-workout. And so I'll probably eat dinner in about an hour. I made this video, so I'm a little bit late in getting in my post-workout. But trying to get a protein and a carb after your workout, just, you know, you've expended a lot of energy during that workout. Again, imagine that fire. You've demanded a lot. That fire burned extremely hot for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour. All right, well, that's gonna, when you stop, that fire's gonna go down. And if you don't ever, you know, if you wait 3 hours after eating, your body is going to be very low levels in energy and mood. And so just thinking, all right, I've demanded, you know, that fire's burned very hot for quite some time. Putting a little bit to keep it burning, you know, for me, that's a protein shake and a carbohydrate source. That's going to keep this burning. And then in about an hour, I'm going to eat a really good, nutritious meal that's going to bring, you know, increase that fire back to a healthy burning level, bring me back to healthy levels. And you may ask, like, hey, why is there not a fat source in my post-workout? Again, fat slows that digestion down. I want this protein to get to my muscles as fast as possible to start repairing them. I want this carbohydrate to get to my cells, to my brain as fast as possible to help give me energy, help my brain stay clear thinking. And so I don't recommend, and I personally do not consume a fat source post-workout. Again, when I eat in about an hour from now, will there be a fat source in my meal? Absolutely. But my goal right now after my workout, typically when I say after my workout, I'm talking about the, you know, 30 minutes after my workout, I'm looking to start to rebuild any muscles that have been damaged or, you know, torn that need to rebuild, and get the energy source, a carbohydrate source, glucose back into my cells, back to my brain, so that my blood sugar doesn't crash super low. So those are just some ideas for you if you know, are looking for a post-workout idea or options. But otherwise, that's all I'll give you guys for today. I'm gonna go swim in the pool with my niece and eat some strawberry rhubarb pie tonight. So I'm super excited for macros this week. I hope all of you are just being consistent, following your goals, focusing on your daily habits. Keep going through the weekend, okay? Stay consistent in the weekend, and then we are gonna launch into water in week 2. So please email me if you have any questions, comment here. Check out my birthday workout if you need an idea. But then we'll talk soon. Please be sure to post what you're eating, share your journey throughout this month on our Facebook page. So have an awesome night. I hope you all have a great weekend. But that's it for today. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.